Hi, my name is João Esteves. I am I am a Portuguese guy. I've moved to Ireland about 8 years ago. I work in the software industry, so I'm a software engineering manager. But what I'm here to talk to you today is around the music project that I have. So I've been playing music for a number of years, and over the past 3 years, I started working on a project that I'm the solo artist, so I have to manage everything from conception to delivery. The project is actually inspired around my surname. It's called Your Friend Esteves, and it is what you would call a synthwave project, which is sort of reminiscent of the 80s, of what electronic music was back then. So it's built with, I work with real synthesizers, so it's not just, working on the computer. So I actually have all the instruments and you cable them on all in and then just record. I also sing on the tracks. I play guitar, I play synths, and I play drums. I've released a number of works, and I'm currently releasing another EP at the moment. We sometimes build these projects around, full-time employment and family commitments. So I cannot be too ambitious because I'm not a full-time musician, but my goal is set yearly, 2 releases a year, which means you without setting dates, fixed dates, say by the 15th of March, I have to finish this and, this song or writing an idea. I don't really usually pressure myself at that point, but once it gets to the point that you have an idea, then I start putting dates into, because I know, let's say if I start working on the idea on the 1st of January, I kind of know that, roughly by the end of June, I should have a release going out. So that gives me a month to play with ideas, a month to record, a month to mix, and then you're, a month for iteration. There's one aspect that's difficult to plan, which is the creative part of it. So how do you come up with an idea? How do you start collecting ideas? You need a process also to collect ideas. Let me give you a couple of examples. One of them is, on the mobile devices, it could be a recording studio wherever you are. So what it means is I do have like some software on my phone. If I have an idea, I can just lay it down very quickly if I'm on the bus or if I'm on the way to somewhere. I've written a good amount of tracks on airports while waiting to board planes. And it's a good bit of fun. The second step is sometimes listening to a bunch of these ideas and try to explore them creatively, either at the piano, at the guitar, and you start putting some flesh and try to refine a little bit more of those ideas. Eventually you come to what could be, the skeleton of a song. And that's what I call milestone 2. Eventually you have enough of these skeletons that you can start thinking about, okay, this could be an EP or an album, depending on the amount of songs you have. So what you have to do next is first try to think of something that links all those ideas together, so that the listener, then it's not just like, one punk song, one electronic music song, it has to have a flow, it has to respect the genre, style, and an idea. Otherwise it's really chaotic. And then you start building the songs and putting lyrics and putting names and titles and linking them all together. Once that's done, probably that's when you go over and re-record everything again. So that's where a lot of work comes in. Re-recording things, getting them to be really good quality. You do multiple takes per instrument, and eventually you will get to a good quality recording. Next milestone is mixing. So mixing, you probably heard the term many times, but you have everything recorded in good quality files. But then you mix the volumes and put a lot of effects here, effects there, and mix it so that you can distinctly hear everything that's in there. Once you're happy with that, then you probably have to start getting a second wave of feedback. I didn't mention the first wave, which can happen at any moment, but definitely at this point, before you commit to that end result, you need to have a crowd of people that can give you honest feedback. Someone saying that, dude, that's actually crap, don't do that, bin it, or to say, you know, I like it, but I don't like this part, or you know, it's out of tune there, or I didn't like this particular bit, or it could be just reinforcement and saying this is awesome. So you have to pick what's awesome, and you have to work on what's not awesome. After a few iterations of that, you probably end with something that, you know, at some point you're going to have to be happy with it. It's never going to be perfect. I use the old, you know, physical post-it Kanban board. In my studio, I actually put post-its. I just want them to be very, very visible every time I go in there. I've tried to use the equivalent of, you know, Trello and you know, those typical boards, but I find that after a while, if it's not too much complexity, I leave it out of the computer world. If it's just for me to look at macro tasks, I just put them in front of me. I work with the label, so they also give me a lot of feedback. But once it gets to that point, then you're out of the music production scenario, and you enter the promotion scenario, which is planning a release, and then that's a whole different pipeline. It involves setting dates around, you know, other artists so that you're not colliding. It involves also, you know, basically looking at the market and see how you can maximize the number of listeners and eventually sales on Bandcamp, for example. It's planning also, yeah, you have to work on with artists that design your artwork. If you're doing a music video, that's yet another complicated task to do on top of that. And then basically you build your release plan, and your release plan will take you to, you're going to need help. It's very hard to do on your own. So I have guys that help with promoting things on social media, you know, and you reach out to a number of bloggers. I have a guy that goes out to bloggers and tries to get submissions for the songs and so on. When I get to the more detailed tasks, let's say a release plan that involves other people, then I do have a plan online. Whether it depends, like the musician folks aren't always very adherent to you know, cool technologies, but you know, sometimes all you need is an Excel sheet, and who does what by what date is definitely what I need to stick by. So you can find it, even if you just Google Your Friend Esteves, and it's Esteves with an S at the end. It's on Spotify, Bandcamp. I'm on all social media patterns. Yeah, please do add and listen to, and you know, do comment on the songs. I love to hear what people think about it.